Well, today we want to talk about pressure in solid. So the first thing is the objectives of this particular lecture. At the end of this lecture, what should you take home, or what should you understand from this? So the first thing at the end of this lecture, you should be able to define pressure. Number two, you should be able to calculate pressure based on the definition. And number three, you should be able to know why we learn this particular concept. And lastly, we should be able to know the practical applications of this particular concept about the pressure in solid. Pressure is defined as the force that is acting perpendicularly per unit area. Now, based on this particular definition, we can express this mathematically as pressure is equal to force over area. Now, force is given in Newton and area given in square meter. It therefore means that the unit for pressure should be Newton per square meter. Now, 1 Newton per square meter is equivalent to 1 Pascal, and therefore the SI unit of pressure is given as Pascal. Now, if we take an example of equation that reads calculate the pressure that is exerted by a 10 kilogram mass on a surface of 100 square centimeter. Now, from this, of course, we know that pressure will always be given by force over area, but here we've been given the mass, and we know mass is not a force, and therefore we have to convert this mass into a force, which is weight. So we are going to multiply the mass by 10 so that we get 100 Newton. We are also going to convert the 100 square centimeter into square meter. The reason why we are doing this is because all calculations must be done in the correct SI unit. Now, so when we do the computation, we will get to 10,000 s Newton per square meter. But we know that the SI unit for pressure should be Pascal, and therefore the correct answer should be 10,000 Pascal. Now, why do we learn this concept? The reason why we learn the pressure in solid is so that we understand the principle behind penetration. It therefore means that we need pressure in order to penetrate surfaces. Now, from the definition of pressure, there are two factors affecting pressure, one of them being force and the second one being the area. Now, force, when we have a bigger force, then definitely we'll be having a bigger pressure, or while for area, when we have a smaller area, then we are going to have a bigger pressure. It is worth noting that the same force or the same weight it can give us different pressure depending on the area of a contact. What happens is that when we have a minimum area of contact, then we will be having a maximum pressure, while when we have a maximum area of contact, then we will be having a minimum pressure. Take a look at the practical applications of pressure in solid. You see that during the design of needle that is used in hospitals, there could also be the reason why heavy truck are fitted with many tires, and why it is not advisable to walk on a muddy ground with high heels. Now, let us see how we can answer this kind of a question. It reads that explain why the needle that is used in hospital to inject a patient is made as thin as possible. Well, to tackle such kind of a question, one, you need to know that the main aim of this is to penetrate the skin. Now the question will be, how will you ensure that this particular needle penetrate the skin easily? Well, to penetrate the skin easily, then it means that you need to have a higher pressure. Now, having a higher pressure mean two things: that either you need to increase the force or you need to minimize the area of a contact. Now, as a scientist and as a physicist, your main aim is always to make work easier. Making work easier means that you need to apply as a smaller energy or a smaller force, and therefore the only option that remains for a physicist is to look for another option that will ensure that we have a maximum pressure, but we still apply a smaller force, and that one will be to minimize the area of the contact. So it therefore means that when we have a smaller area, we'll be having a higher pressure, and having a higher pressure will be giving us a easier penetration. And therefore the answer to such question will be, the thinner the needle, this ensures that we have a smaller area of contact. A smaller area of contact result into a bigger pressure, which facilitates a faster or easier penetration into the skin.